In a season full of low points, the New Orleans Saints reached the low point in a loss against the Las Vegas Raiders. This was an embarrassment. A double digit loss to a team as bad as the Raiders. It's just embarrassing. There's no other word for it, especially with it being in New Orleans, in the dome, in front of the home crowd. I remember when teams feared having to come to New Orleans to play in the dome. Now, sadly, it is just another stadium on the opponent's schedule. But that's what you get when you have a front office who continually makes bad decisions and waits way too long to correct those bad decisions if they even try at all. This is what you get. This is the product you get. You get getting blown out essentially against a team who is also terrible, but that just means you're even worse than them. Amir Abdullah, right here. This is a guy who has been in the league a decade. He was drafted around, I believe, 2015. He has never had a 100-yard rushing game. That is until he faced the 2024 New Orleans Saints defense, because now he has one in over a decade of games. He has now achieved that. So let's get into the film, see how it happened. This first play here is an explosive run from Abdullah, and there's nothing special about this play at all. It is simply split zone, split outside or wide zone. You're gonna have zone blocking from the offensive line, right? How in the world did that happen? Okay, you're gonna have zone blocking from the offensive line, and then you're gonna get the tight end sifting backside to usually cut off the edge, but in this case, it's gonna be Pete Werner filling over the top. And the Saints, it looks like they're trying to stunt their front a little. Looks like they're trying to kind of stunt inside on things, right? And then have Demario come down and then Pete Werner come around. The problem is it leaves a wide open gap over here on the left side of the screen, right? So you can see the Saints stunting to the right, Pete Werner coming around, and then that just leads. I mean, look at that. That is horrific. Look at all this room. That Amir Abdullah. You could put any running back right there, and they would get an explosive play on the chart. It's just fundamentally bad football from the New Orleans Saints defense, right? And I guess maybe Chase Young a little over pursues it a little too much, right? I don't know, but they all get washed down. Pete Werner is out wide. Safety is all the way up here, nowhere in position to help. And you have the first explosive run of the day. It's just bad, 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 fundamentally sound defense. Next play here, this is going to be a second down and 12. Saints, Raiders are backed up. This is a good chance to load up, stop the run, force this guy, the quarterback, to make a play. He's not a very good quarterback. So in my mind, load the box, force him to throw it, right? They're backed up. Maybe he'll panic. You get a safety, something, right? But nope, in this case, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Saints defenders versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Raiders blocker. That is a hat on a hat for the offense. That is not good, right? Because that leaves nobody for the running back. And again, it's another explosive play. The Raiders, this time, they're going to run trap. So they're going to get here. You're going to get linebacker. He's going to block here. You're going to get this guy trapped. And then one-on-one right here. And then Amir Abdullah is just going to take it and run the ball, right? Run it for another explosive run. But unfortunately, right through the hole. I mean, again, just like the first play we talked about, look at all this green grass. I mean, it's embarrassing. It is truly embarrassing. I mean, you could hand this to anybody, any high school running back. They can hit this hole for 5-10 yards. I mean, and then the tackling is just pathetic. The Saints they just need a complete overhaul entirely, especially on the defensive side of the ball, because they have had some of the worst tackling I've ever seen in my life this season. Next play here, again, another embarrassing rep on defense for the Saints. And even when they have the numbers advantage in the box, they still get blown off the ball. So the Raiders, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blockers. The Saints have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And there's a guy right here that you can't see. That's 8. So it's 8 versus 7. Perfect, ideal situation to stop the run. But not going to happen. The Raiders, again, nothing crazy. They're just going to run wide zone to the left. Okay. And the Saints, you can tell their run responsibilities. You got outside responsibility. You got here. You got the B gap, A gap, B gap, C gap, D gap. Alante out here on the outside. Everything is filled, right? Well, unfortunately, we're extremely soft here at the safety position. We get blown off the ball by a tight end. And that's that. And then Granderson misses the tackle. So let's press play. So you can see, had it covered on the front side. Nice job. But the running back cuts it back. Cam Jordan fighting for his gap, has his back turned. Safety again. Keep an eye right here on Umadi, sorry. Just gets completely washed off the ball. Granderson actually beats his guy, but misses the tackle. Again, just talked about it. The tackling this year has been atrocious. Amir Abdullah stays on his feet. And then again, just gets right down to the goal line like it's nothing. Like Swiss cheese, like a hot knife through butter. Saints run defense, pitiful. This one's just a simple crack toss. Receiver's going to crack block. Got the tackle pulling out. Ball's going to be tossed to the left. And again, the theme on this play, missed tackles, right? Toss. Lante Taylor, miss. Demario Davis, miss. Ugo Madi being thrown out of the club by an offensive lineman. Again, another explosive run. I mean, what can you even say at this point? You know, just missed tackles, playing soft, not fundamentally sound. Just about everything you can do bad on defense, the Saints have figured out how to do. And again, to have the Las Vegas Raiders of all teams come in here and score 25 points, it's just ridiculous. You know, it really is. But
It's the
again,
most wonderful time of the year for getting in hoops, football, and hockey action at DraftKings Sportsbook. In the season of giving, we're being gifted college football and college basketball, pro football and pro basketball, and add pro hockey too, almost 24/7. And here's a gift for all new customers. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code BOOT. That's code BOOT, BOOT, for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins when you bet just $5. Happy holidays from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, and Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus premium terms at nfl.com/terms.
but again, what can you say? This is what the New Orleans Saints franchise has come to. Front office, hopefully they get this coaching search right. If not, you know, there's going to be some dark days ahead. There's going to be some dark days anyway while the Saints rebuild this thing. But if they don't get this right, then it could be even longer than any of us expect. And you know, while we're at it, another huge issue with this defense is the lack of pass rush, right? And they've tried, you know, they have tried to address it. Cam Jordan, obviously on the back end of his career, he can't provide you really much any rush there anymore. You got Chase Young. They went out and signed him, gave him a shot. He's had a pretty nice pressure rate this year, but he just can't finish it. He can't turn them into sacks, and you know, so that doesn't help much, right? Pressure is obviously nice, but you need sacks. And you know, Peyton Turner, they drafted Peyton Turner. He wasn't worth the first round pick. He can't stay healthy. Obviously, the Davenport situation. Carl Granderson is a nice player, but you know he can't do it all by himself. And on the interior, you got Brian Bresee. He's leading the team in sacks. He's not on the field on this rep. He's leading the team in sacks this year, but you know if you really watch them, most of those are kind of cleanup sacks or off of a stunt or pick or something. And then Colin Saunders really is just, you know, supposed to be the run support, big body in the middle of the defense. So the Saints, that's another thing they need to really address, man, is the lack of pass rush. It shows up. It has showed up really a lot over the last couple seasons. And this touchdown pass here from Aiden O'Connell, I mean, it shows up, you know, a lot. Like, check out just how much time he has to throw this touchdown pass. So snap, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi. I mean, just an unreal amount of time. And really, you can't expect anybody in the back end to hold up for that long anyway. And, you know, the Saints on defense, it looks like they're man coverage down here on this side and zone up here at the top. And, you know, Kool-Aid kind of bites on this tight end route, which, you know, he should have because nobody's covering it with Pete Werner heading to the flat. Alante is kind of just stuck in no man's land here, with the threat to the flat, and then he just doesn't feel the receiver get behind him. And again, with all the time in the pocket that Aiden O'Connell has, he's able to get this thing off for a touchdown. And it's just no team, no defense can cover that much in the background with no help from the front, right? I mean, and just look at it from this angle. I mean, look how much time. I mean, there is just no pressure whatsoever, right? Like Aiden O'Connell, he works the pocket, works the pocket. I mean, he could have like worked this thing forever. He could have like stepped back inside, had no pressure on him, and nice throw to the back of the end zone for a touchdown. So that's another thing that the Saints are going to have to address, the lack of pressure that they have gotten on the quarterback the last couple of years. And here's just another example of a play where the quarterback has just given way too much time to find the open man. Now, thankfully, this was a horrible throw by Aiden O'Connell. Right, you see this receiver, he's open. He can just lead him in front, and that's a completion. Instead, he throws it behind him, and it ends up being incomplete. But I mean, look at the pocket that the quarterback is allowed to have. Play action. I mean, look, this is just I mean, anybody can sit in this pocket and complete a pass out of this. So, that's going to be the end of the video, man. Look, the Saints, they have a lot of work to do. Obviously, it's going to start with finding the right head coach that can come in here and build a culture. The Saints badly, badly, badly need a culture builder, right? I would prefer an offensive coach just because it is an offensive driven league, but I also am not opposed to a defensive coach if you can bring the right guy in. I know some names have been floated out there like Mike Vrabel. He did some nice things with Tennessee. It didn't end that great, but I think that was more because of a talent issue in terms of, stuff with the GM and stuff, trading away A.J. Brown. I know Mike Vrabel wasn't a fan of that. So that's a name out there. Obviously you have your Ben Johnsons, right, who probably is going to take the Chicago job. You have the Buccaneers offensive coordinator, Liam Cohen. He'll be a hot name, especially with how much success Baker Mayfield has had this year. We've seen Dave Canales get a job last year because of him kind of reviving Baker's career. Another name that is linked to the Saints closely and is probably the betting favorite is Aaron Glenn. Of course, Aaron Glenn, former player, and he also coached with the Saints for a really long time. He knows a lot of the roster still, so that right there is the betting favorite to be the next Saints head coach. Obviously, he's the defensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions right now. And man, to be honest with you, I love Aaron Glenn. I think he brings a good energy to a locker room. I know the players love him. Just in my opinion, I wouldn't want to go in that direction because I think the Saints organization needs a complete fresh start. I think they need new eyes on this place, new eyes on all the players, on the roster, just somebody that has nothing to do, has no ties with the New Orleans Saints organization whatsoever. Someone to come in, build a culture, and turn this thing around and turn the New Orleans Saints back into being winners. Appreciate you guys watching. Peace.